Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 3 in this random versus random set of games between Grubby and Lucifer. And apparently both of these players are just letting the other player know what race they got right off the bat. All of Undead win Elf. Haha. Haha. Alright, now apparently nowadays Undead always beats Night Elf. Apparently, Grubby thought Night Elf had the upper hand over Undead, but that's no longer the case. As we move here into game number 3 in this set. So far, the series has been very entertaining. Everything has been very, very much freestyle, so to say. No one playing a really particular style and saying, like, you know what, this is what I'm always going to be doing. And that really makes for some interesting play. Who knew that all you really needed in WarCraft 3 to get some new blood into it was to bring back some old blood with Grubby and Lucifer in this series. So far, it looks as though the Ancient of War are going to try, or it may end up taking a little bit of damage. And yes, it is going to be taking some damage here, and this could actually hurt a lot. Oh, the Wisp now being brought back over, and now the Ancient of War taking some damage here, and this is going to really put a little bit of a damper on Lucifer's plans here. As you can see, there's also a Wisp there. This one turtle is really moving after that one Acolyte, but the Acolyte able to make it all the way back here, as you still see the giant sea turtle apparently very, very angry at this Ancient of War, as that Ancient of War is still taking damage. Alright, Ancient of War taking damage there. You can see that the Ancient of War should be uprooted here in just a moment. There it goes, and now should be engaging. It is going to be a Warden compared to most likely a Death Knight. Yes, Warden versus Death Knight. Always one unorthodox hero in these games so far, as we can see that the Warden does get the experience off of that kill and get some gold as well. Warden now making its way over. Meanwhile, back over here, the Death Knight is in here as well. So far, the Death Knight and the Warden pass each other, as the Death Knight now makes its way off to the north. So far, the Warden is looking for some easy ghouls, perhaps, but with this one Nerubian tower, it will be very, very difficult to take down any of these ghouls, especially while they're on the Blight. While fighting on Blight, those ghouls regenerate hit points extremely quickly. Meanwhile, the Death Knight is looking for some easy units to kill and has not found any as of yet. You can see that there are skeletal minions back off over here, and even if a detonation goes off, that's actually better for... Oh, what is Grubby doing? Grubby is actually attacking the main tree, hoping to... Oh, he's going to slip through. Oh, beautifully done right there. As you can see that the this one poor skeletal minion is really just trying to make sure that he doesn't give any experience to that Warden. Warden is halfway to level 2 as we're still fighting back and forth and looking at what's going to be unfolding next. Now, during these early micro battles, what you're really trying to do is just trying to get a small leg up on your opponent. Anytime you can get a little bit more experience, or force your opponent to use Moonwells, force your opponents to not creep, that's exactly what you want to be trying to do. The Death Knight does not need to get to level 3 extremely quickly, since at some point I'm expecting him to transition into Crypt Fiends, and creeping with Crypt Fiends is extremely easy, and you're able to come back and make up those hero levels fairly quickly. However, does Grubby know that about the undead race, and is he going to be able to execute it even if he knows how to do, even if he knows the strategy? If he cannot execute the said game plan, then things will be all for naught. Alright, the Death Knight now making its way inside here, perhaps going after some Wisp, but some very good building placement by Lucifer, making any of this harassment pretty much unlikely to be successful. So far, the Moonwell looks like it will be surviving, as it is going up against that Death Knight right there. Meanwhile, down over here, the archers and the ghouls are still battling out it, as this one ghoul is regenerating hit points, but still needs to be very, very careful, since it did get hit with that Shadow Strike. Alright, Death Knight still wandering around here, does have only 25 experience, meaning he got maybe one Wisp kill at the most. As we're looking at the ghouls now wandering around, the ghouls may make their way down over here to try and clear out this creep camp and get perhaps the Death Knight up to level 2. I believe even with all of those ghouls clearing out this creep camp, it will just be a little bit shy of level 2, as the ghouls are now about to engage. I believe so. Yes. Skeletal minions now being brought over as well as the Death Knight. I'm going to go ahead and engage against all of these units here. All right, so far, we could be seeing some death coils come in. That low hit point ghoul perhaps should be returning all the way back home. Meanwhile, the Ogre Warriors should be falling here, and that Forest Troll as well. The Death Knight will not get to level 2 at all. Meanwhile, the Warden looking very strong here, and Lucifer may get to... no, will not get to level 3, but will get to extremely close to it. Just going to be a little bit shy, I believe, as there is still the... 2 Forest Troll Trappers. And is there a Talisman of Evasion? What are the units missing? I'm not 100% sure. The Warden very low. And now there's the Troll Trapper there, getting in some extra damage. The Warden getting up to level 3. I did not expect that Warden to get that much experience off of that creep camp. Not quite sure how, but as we're looking at it over here, the Death Knight now sitting at level 2. Does have Claws of Attack plus 9, so very, very heavy damage now on that Death Knight. And has to be extremely, extremely careful, as it is going to try to melee in just a little bit more. But going from 27 to 36 minimum damage is absolutely huge there. Picking up that Tome of Knowledge, and now going after... Oh, is he going to sell some items? Yes, he does. He sells all of those items, including the Claws of Attack plus 9. Apparently not really concerned about it, as we're looking at the Warden now making a push inside the base here. So far, with that Black Citadel currently being upgraded, are we seeing the Lich? Yes, the Lich will be added as well. Do we have Dust of Appearance? Yes, we do. There's the Dust of Appearance. There is the Lich, and there is a Frost Nova onto that Lich. Lich is taking a lot of damage. There's a huge Fan of Knives, Staff of Teleportation, as the Warden will be getting out of there. And what's going to be happening next? We should be seeing a Slaughterhouse and also some Obsidian statues being trained up in just a moment, as the... as the Warden now makes its way over here. And I'm surprised that they didn't use the Warden trick where you set up a couple of archers as a wall and then you hide them, and then the rest of the archers are in the back just engaging without taking any damage whatsoever. The Warden now already up to level 4, and we already know a level 4 Warden is very, very scary, as it is that much closer to level 6. Level 6 giving it a huge advantage, as Avatar of Vengeance is perhaps one of the best ultimates in the game. All right, let's take a look at this. Clarity Potion now being used. Moonstone now being used as well. Archers all healing back up. We are no upgraded Moonwells that I can see. And we are now just sitting and waiting for what the Warden plans to do next. I cannot believe that this Archer army is nearly as strong as it is, as the Lich is now waiting for that Orb of Corruption. Should be picking that up here in just a moment. And as soon as it picks up that Orb of Corruption and getting that -5 D-armor buff, perhaps that Warden will be suffering from a little bit more damage. All right, the Lich does not have the... No, now finally has the Orb of Corruption. And there you go. There's a Death Coil saving it there, as we're looking at this poor Lich with 0 armor now, having a little bit of a bad day. Now needs to back off. All right, Obsidian Statue is in play. It looks as though the Obsidian Statue is going to be the sign for a push coming in from the Death Knight Lich combo. I would have normally thought level 3 first, as the Warden still wandering back around here. Are we going to perhaps see that the Warden is just going to dance around the far edge? He has to be very careful, as the Black Citadel will slow down this Warden very easily. And without the Frost Nova as the follow-up, and the Death Knight actually wasting the Death Coil, no real reason that you would use a level 1 Death Coil on a level 4 Warden, since the hit points are so high. Alright, there is that damage. There is a Fan of Knives. There is a Scroll of Town Portal. That was perhaps a bit of a waste, as we are now looking at the Panda clearing out the Gargantuan Sea Turtle Creep Camp. Tree of Life has tanked a bit of damage as it ate through a tree line right there. It's going to start rooting itself. Meanwhile, the Death Knight needs to get to level 3. Should be able to do exactly that, as the Obsidian Statue is healing back up all of these units. It looks as though the Obsidian Statue is not healing the Lich for some strange reason, as the Ghoul attacked the Lich to lose aggro. But out of all the targets to attack, I'm sure there was a better one than that. Death Knight sitting at level 3 now. Lich still sitting at level 1. Gonna go after this red creep camp on the side. Not really that many Crypt Fiends. And the Obsidian Statue is still back over here, just watching and healing a Skeletal Warrior. And that was a problem with attack move, where if you attack move as opposed to just straight up move, you could end up losing your Obsidian Statue in the back if there is some unit that isn't in your control group. Alright, Ogre Lord going to get taken down there. Lich now finally sitting at level 2. Tome of Experience was left behind, And are we going to perhaps see, oh, that Tome of Experience now picked up by the Lich. Cloak of Flames, very nice, may get transferred off to that Death Knight, or sold, as that is not normally the best item on a Lich. So far, that Lich is still engaging. There's a Frost Nova, there's a Frost Nova Death Coil, and a Fan of Knives coming in. There is a Staff of Preservation, as the Warden now in a little bit of trouble. And is that Warden going to fall? The Warden may end up falling here. No, it does not. And there's a whole bunch of units now being left behind here. The Archers could turn around and get off some shots. There's a Death Coil saving or killing another unit there, as the Obsidian statues are going to perhaps try and engage and finish off with the help of the rest of the army this particular creep camp. Lich is going to stay at level 2, not going to have enough to get to level 3. If the red creep camp is crept out here next, then that Lich will definitely get to level 3, and even that Death Knight can get to level 4. Alright, come back around. You can see that this Ogre Warrior now backing off here. Panda now trying to engage. You can see that the Warden is still there as well. What's going to be happening as all those units are now backed off? Perhaps a Scroll of Healing, or not Scroll of Healing, the Rune of Healing could be placed down. Lich already seen at level 3. And with the Obsidian statues just slowly healing back up the Death Knight now, I'm really curious about the rest of Grubby's army. Grubby's army looks rather small at 47 over 50 compared to 53 over 60, and growing for Lucifer, as Lucifer still has plenty of things queued up and trained. Meanwhile, I don't see that many things queued up at all for Grubby, as he's sitting at 50 over 50 and doesn't have the expansion. Skeletal Minion will scout out this Tree of Life expansion though, and now Lucifer knows that he needs to train up as many units as he can and really make that worth it. Now that his opponent knows that his expansion is up, Death Knight will get to level 4 here. Potion of Invulnerability, and that's going to be staying on the Death Knight. Meanwhile, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability now staying on the Lich, and that is a huge 1-2 item combination for Grubby, as Grubby should be able to keep up his heroes alive for quite some time. Meanwhile, we have the Jangle of Endurance and some very nice items on the Warden. The Claws of Attack +9, Boots of Speed, Staff of Teleportation, Potion of Mana for those extra Fan of Knives that has been so effective throughout this game. Death Knight now wandering back. Excuse me as I grab a drink of water. As the Death Knight now tries to come in here and engage, I'm really looking for what Lucifer is trying to do here. Lucifer so far is just keeping his economic advantage. You can see that the gold mine is getting attacked here, but that's not really going to hamper much of anything, as the Crypt Fiends get off some easy shots onto those Dryads. That is a lot of Dryads, and that is the problem with Lucifer's army, as he is going to be going up against mostly Crypt Fiends. The Crypt Fiends do have medium armor, meaning that they take reduced damage from those Dryads, as we see a Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire, Frost Nova already onto that Warden. And so far, Potion of, I believe that was a Potion of Greater Healing. So far, what's going to happen here? There is a Squirrel Town portal, and this fight is going very poorly all of a sudden for Grubby, just because of the sheer numbers. Lucifer having, I believe, yes, almost 70 supply compared to, I believe, 55. That is a 15-point difference, and even more so added by the fact that there were a lot of ghouls back at home harvesting lumber. Alright, Panda, along with the Warden, now making their way off to the top left. Panda, decent movement speed. The Warden with Boots of Speed, very, very fast. Going to try to get to level 5 here. Level 3 Shadow Strike would be absolutely deadly against any of the units, as the Panda now finally shows up. The Panda may even get to level 4 here, as the Warden now just sitting at level 4. The Warden should perhaps blink out of this engagement, just so that the Warden doesn't gain any more experience. Alright, so what item was left behind? Scourge Bone Chimes, Vampiric Aura now onto the army, as the Panda now sends the Warden all the way back home. The expansion is now gone though, as the Meat Wagon added in the extra bit of needed damage to take down that siege, the siege building, and now Grubby with 2 Meat Wagons could deal a lot of damage here. Alright, there's a Frost Nova, there's a Death Coil, Fan of Knives. Warden is in a little bit of trouble. What is it planning on doing? It is going to Shadow Meld, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on. The Death Knight gets the Death Coil off, and there it goes. Level 5 Warden falls. Level 5 Warden falls. Level 5 now on the Death Knight. Level 4 on the Lich. And that is a huge turnaround as the Tavern is currently being guarded by Grubby. Grubby now just chasing after all of the units. Grubby does have enough mana for another Death Coil. There's level 4 onto the Panda now as the both sides trying to engage. There's another Frost Nova slowing down that all-important Panda. If that Panda falls again, Grubby is going to easily take this game here as he is still giving chase. So far, there's another Frost Nova. There's, I believe, a Potion of Healing as the Warden now comes back in to join in on the fight. Is he going to use that Potion of Mana? I believe so. And there is the Disease Cloud as well. Drunken Haze, no, Shadow Strike now on the units as all the units are trying to run away. You can see the Disease Cloud coming through, but undead units are immune to that Disease Cloud, meaning that only the Night Elf army is taking that damage over time. Now that damage over time pretty much just does a little bit more damage and negates the passive healing at nightfall. So this is still going to be rather problematic. Panda sitting at level 4 still. Warden now sitting at level 5. It is back and it does need a Clarity Potion, I believe, to get more mana as we are looking at the next fight. And with these Meat Wagons and Disease Cloud, this is going to be looking like a very scary push by Grubby. Grubby actually going to change things up a little bit, and he's going to engage from the corner here. So you can see that if he clears out these trees, he can leave the Meat Wagons here, and then just try and engage as long as he has line of sight. All right, there you go. The Meat Wagons are in position. And what can the Meat Wagons attack? The Meat Wagons can attack right there, and this is huge. They can just hold position and now take down the Altar of Elders. An Ancient of War now being brought over to try and eat its way through this tree line, but not before the Altar of Elders gets taken down. 2 Meat Wagons taking a breath of fire there. Are we still seeing a little bit more engagement? Yeah, the Moonwell is going to get taken out. And this is just looking like an absolute nightmare of an engagement. All right, 1 Meat Wagon is all that is left off over here. You can see another Meat Wagon off to the north, and we are going to see an engagement still. The Meat Wagons could take down the Ancients of Lore from the safety behind this tree line here, and that is going to be a lot of damage as the Meat Wagons, I believe, are just attacking ground now. Are they attacking the ground, or are they actually engaging that Ancient of Lore? I can't tell with line of sight as we are still engaging here. So far, all of those Dryads are in trouble, and now Grubby looks like he has this game in the bag. This is looking like a very easy game now for Grubby, as Grubby is just going to be pushing forward. You can see that all of those Meat Wagons just launching those attacks there. All of those Dryads pretty much not standing much of a chance. By the time they engage in this fight, they're pretty much going to be low on hit points. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Oh, Fan of Knives. Breath of Fire. 1, 2, 3 punch. Extremely fast, dealing tremendous amounts of damage. And it is always very funny when a hero dies and it has a Potion of Invulnerability. I would have thought Grubby would have responded to it fast enough, but that didn't seem to be the case. All right, let's see what's going to be happening next. Bear is now coming in from the back. All right, there is a Breath of Fire taking down some of those as we are looking at the Bears now trying to take down these Meat Wagons. Meat Wagons not very good in a close, straight-up fight here, and we're seeing exactly that as all of a sudden Lucifer is just absolutely wrecking everything with this army. Staff of Preservation, and now what was a very strong Meat Wagon army is now just down to 1 Meat Wagon and a handful of Crypt Fiends. But the Dryads are still off to the side over here. They are not regenerating hit points at all. This is not looking good for them as we are looking at, oh, what is this? The Bears are now coming back in to engage. The Death Knight could try to come in here, get some easy kills. No, there is a Staff of Preservation saving, and there's a huge Fan of Knives. 1 Bear should get taken down. There goes a Bear. Focus onto the Dryads next. There's another Breath of Fire. Scroll of Healing counteracting the Breath of Fire. Level 6 onto the Death Knight. Death Knight, Animate Dead. Oh, Animate Dead as the ultimate ability, and that is huge at this point as those units are all invulnerable and deal a fair bit of damage as well, and this is going to be it. Having 6 units on the field that cannot die, and that is going to be it right there. Lucifer is going to have to give the GG. Most of the time, I don't even see Animate Dead. Thank you, Grubby. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. And I believe there may be one more game in this series, but I don't know if I'll be able to cast it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.